Hello everybody, welcome to the show. Ross Madden, you're watching the Truther Think Tank channel. Today kicks off our series on the OIG Report Hearings. These are absolutely devastating to Hillary Clinton, James Comey, the whole FBI and Department of Justice, Loretta Lynch. Big names are being called out in these hearings, and so we're going to cover them and give them their justice. The hearing starts off with Senator Chuck Grassley, who is the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. He has been working to clean up the FBI for years. He actually authored the Whistleblower Protection Act back in 1989, and he has supported FBI whistleblowers Colleen Raleigh, Sibel Edmonds, and Jane Turner.
There was some shocking news in the Inspector General's report. Thanks to his work, we already knew about Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and their anti-Trump text messages. Now, in this report, we learned that at least 3 others at the FBI did the same thing. The Inspector General referred all 5 of them for violations of the FBI's Code of Conduct. 4 of these 5 FBI employees were on the 15-member team investigating Hillary Clinton. That's more than 25% of that team. 3 of these 5 employees later ended up on the Special Counsel Mueller's team. If the Inspector General had not discovered their anti-Trump text, they would still be with Mueller's team. They would still be investigating the Trump campaign. They would still be texting about how they despise President Trump and everyone who voted for him. They would still be plotting about how to use their official position to stop him. Robert Mueller removed these people from his team. Why did he do that? Obviously, because this kind of political bias has no place in law enforcement. When it was exposed so clearly, Mr. Mueller had no choice. Most of the time, evidence of political bias is not so explicit. The details in this report confirm what American people have suspected for a long time. Hillary Clinton got the kid glove treatment. The biggest difference, of course, is the appointment of a special counsel. Attorney General Lynch refused to appoint one. The appearance of political influence was inevitable. Ms. Lynch met privately with President Clinton days before she agreed with the FBI to close the investigation without any charges. If there were ever a time for a special counsel, this would be that time.
Senator Chuck Grassley does a great side-by-side comparison of how the Republicans are treated versus how the Democrats are treated, basically exonerated for terrible crimes, while the Republicans are, constantly scrutinized for basically nothing.
Attorney General Lynch clearly should have recused herself, and this lingering controversy proves it. But she refused to step aside, regardless of how bad it looked. Now, by contrast, Attorney General Sessions recused himself, and his deputy, Rod Rosenstein, appointed a hard-charging special counsel. The difference is between night and day. Under Lynch, Comey drafted a public exoneration of Clinton, were interviewed.
When Grassley asks this next question, I get goosebumps.
Under Rosenstein, no one seriously thinks Robert Mueller would plan a press conference to exonerate Trump before his investigators' work is done.
Would Robert Mueller close Donald Trump's investigation before it had been fully completed, before he had interviewed all of the witnesses? Hillary Clinton didn't even have an investigation done. She got a fake investigation done. Huber's performing a fake investigation. We need a second special counsel.
Under Lynch, a low-level IT worker lied to the FBI twice about destroying records under subpoena and got immunity. Under Rosenstein, a low-level Trump campaign associate provided the wrong date for a conversation with a professor and got charged with lying to the FBI. Under Lynch, Clinton's lawyers and aides who improperly held classified information got carefully crafted agreements to limit searches of their computers by consent. Under Rosenstein, Trump's lawyers and former aides got raided and hauled before grand juries.
This night and day comparison, the obvious bias, is just a great argument for a second special counsel. A second special counsel would give us the ability to raid their offices like they raided Manafort's house. They would be able to take their cell phones, just go take them. Go look what's on them. They have been, half the team, a quarter of the team has been proven biased. And we don't even have the rest of the team's cell phone data. So why don't you just take it? I bet the whole team is biased. We need everyone's cell phone data. We need everyone's emails. We need a second special counsel to subpoena the entire Mueller investigation. And we need that second special counsel to subpoena the entire Hillary Clinton cover-up investigation team. Every single person on both teams should have all of their communications gathered up and placed on a table in front of these Republican senators and congressmen.
The Justice Department faces a serious credibility problem because millions of Americans suspect that there is a double standard. They see a story of kid-glove treatment for one side and bare-knuckle tactics for the other. It wasn't just Hillary Clinton using private email for official business, so was Jim Comey. It wasn't just Andy McCabe talking to the press, so were dozens of others at all levels of the FBI. So many FBI officials had unauthorized contact with the media that the Inspector General couldn't figure out who was leaking. Reporters were plying their FBI sources with tickets to sporting events, meals, drinks, and golf outings. The FBI has managed to promote a culture that winks at unauthorized disclosures to the press, but punishes legally protected whistleblowing. It stiff-arms congressional oversight to hide embarrassing facts, while it leaks self-serving tidbits to friendly reporters bearing gifts. In scandal after scandal, accountability is the exception rather than the rule. Nearly a decade ago, the department went after the late Senator Ted Stevens. Many suspected politics was a motivation to cut corners. Judicial investigators found 2 federal prosecutors committed intentional misconduct, but the department's Office of Professional Responsibility watered it down to quote-unquote reckless misconduct. After years of appeals and administrative proceedings, guess what? These folks are still federal prosecutors. Presidential politics was a major preoccupation for those at the heart of both cases related to the 2016 election, including Director Comey. His subordinates said that they were under enormous pressure to wrap it up before the political conventions. He was concerned about how it would look if Clinton won, and he had not reopened the case in October to examine the new evidence. Director Comey testified here on May 3 last year that he had never been an anonymous source or authorized anyone to be one in any story on these controversies. Well, I'm starting to wonder about that. The Inspector General recently concluded in another report that former Deputy Director McCabe improperly authorized media leaks to make himself look good. Then he lied about it multiple times, both under oath and to Mr. Comey. Mr. McCabe denies that, and his lawyers claim that there are emails with Mr. Comey that would vindicate him. The FBI hasn't provided any such emails, and the Inspector General's report doesn't mention any. Neither man could agree to come here and explain it to the committee. Whatever happened, it is a sad state of affairs for the former top 2 employees and officials at the FBI. The Inspector General's report ought to be a step, really step 1, in the right direction. but consequences must follow.
The process with this level of inherent bias.
Very, very biased. And we're now learning that there were more FBI agents who were sending anti-Trump texts, and one or maybe two of those lawyers wound up in the Mueller team. Dana, I mean, this Mueller team is just packed full of these people at this point, and they were removed for anti-Trump tests by Mueller only 3 or 4 months ago, though.
I believe that Strzok's texts are more incriminating in terms of conspiracies than anything in the Russian collusion thing. I was trying to think about this. You know, what would be comparable to writing "Stop Trump"? Would be Trump texting, "Call Putin. We've got to stop Hillary."
Underneath all of the partisan rhetoric about the IG report, we learned that once again we have an agency that has some dysfunction.
A second special counsel needs to subpoena Donna Brazil's phone and computer immediately. Why is Fox News giving her a platform at all? She was a witness to all of this cover-up. She was the DNC chairwoman during the election.
Disgusting. Let's just say it. Disgusting.
Disgusting.
It's disgusting.